Okay, so good day. I am Jefferson, Garo, and today we are going to create the summary of our chapter 4. Okay, so our chapter 4 is mostly all about the cables. Okay, cables and also a touch of layers. Okay, so let's start game. Okay, so as what you've known, I am using this notebook because all of my notes are here. Okay, because I am always reading my math. Okay, so first is the type of connections. Okay, first, so there are two types of connections. Okay, it is named physical connection, and there are two types of physical connection. Okay, the wired and the wireless. Okay, so the wired one is the one with wires, okay, cables, and wireless is using radio waves, okay, or electromagnetic, I think. And the next is the layers. Okay, so here, so you can see I have drawn here the layers. Okay, so there are the application layer, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and the physical. Okay, so on the first stage, on the application and presentation layer, okay, so there is the application data, okay, coming from the PC. And then the session is where the data is being divided into segments. Okay, so after the segments, it is turned into packets where it has its header, okay, here. So the header is added to it. So next is transport, then network, and data link, where your packets is turned into frames. Okay, so in frames you will have the header and the trailer. Okay, so and lastly, physical, it will be converted to bits, or the ones and zeros, or those numbers, then going to signal. And if it's going to another PC, okay, it will just go back from here to here. Okay, so from bits it will be turned into frames, and from frames it will be packets, then packets to segments, and segments to application data. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, so next is this, okay, the binary, on how it is transmitted on the on our physical layer. Okay, so when the number is 0, okay, it will be coming from the top, okay, from high to low. Okay, so I see 0 from high to low. Then when it is 1, it is from low to high. Then the next is 0, that's high to low. Then this is 0 again, so we'll go up and then go down again. Okay, then this is 1, low to high, and then low to high, and high to low. Okay, just remember, if you see a 1, it is low to high, and if it is 0, it is high to low. So next is the conversion. I think this is okay. This is just a simple table of conversion that I have read on this chapter. So it is conversion of bits into the other unit of measure in terms of bytes. Okay, so here is the bits per second. Okay, so 1 bit per second is the fundamental, okay, unit of a bit. And then next is the kilobits, or the KB. Okay, so kilobits per second, 1 kilobits per second is equal to 10 raised to 3 bits per second. Okay, so next is the megabits. Okay, the 1 megabits per second is equivalent to 10 raised to 6, okay, bits per second. Okay, so just, okay, calculate that, okay, the 10 raised to 6, and you will know how many bits per second it is. Okay. The next is the gigabit. 1 gigabit per second is equal to 10 raised to 9 bits per second. And last is the terabits, which is 1 terabits is equivalent to 10 raised to 12 bits per second. Okay. So just remember there is a pattern here. So it is always raised to the number divisible by 3. Okay, so 3 raised to 6 raised to 9 12. Okay, just 3 6 9 12. Okay, from kilobits to terabits. So next is bandwidth. Okay, so before we have watch and create an activity on our this subject on networking about the wires of the internet, and I have seen there the bandwidth, which is a like a claw machine that is okay, the router is dividing all the packets into much narrower road, okay, which is the bandwidth. Okay, so bandwidth here is the capacity of medium to carry data. Okay, so it measures the amount of the data flow. Okay, so it is the router is dividing it because it is much narrower than the last road. Okay, the packets are routing. Next, the throughput. Throughput is the measure of the transfer of bits across the media over a given period of time. So that's it. Okay. So share ko lang. I have here a map of the sequence of the things that happened on the wires of the internet, because if you have if you are having difficulty in in studying the chapter 3 of this NetAcad, it's chapter 3. When you watch this wires of the net, will be all of the things or some of the things that you are not familiar you will be familiar with it. Okay, so I have watched this because I am searching for what is the meaning of bandwidth. Okay, so as what I've said, bandwidth divides it and put the packets on a much narrower road. Okay, so next is the about the router. So this is 1941 router. Okay, so these are parts. The gigabit Ethernet interface, the management ports, SHDSL interface, and fast Ethernet switch ports. Okay, so next, this is the exciting part, or the type of medias. So first is the copper media. Okay, so copper medias are inexpensive, which means is low in cost, easy to install, low resistance to electrical current. Okay, so next is the interference. Okay, interference on the media that we are using. Okay, so there are 3. Okay, I have written here 3 interference: the EMI, RFI, and the crosstalk. Sorry, the EMI is electromagnetic interface, and the RFI is the radio frequency interference. Okay, sorry, electromagnetic interference and radio frequency interference. Okay, so both of those interference causes distortion and corrupt. Okay, it is corrupting the data signals. The sources of the radio waves and electromagnetic devices. Okay, so next is the crosstalk. Okay, so the crosstalk is the cause of this is the electric or magnetic fields. Okay, so example of the crosstalk. Okay, the effect of crosstalk is when you are using a telephone. Okay, we are hearing some part of another voice combo from another adjacent circuit. Okay, so when you're talking, you are hearing some or other convo or conversations on your telephone. Okay, so that's the crosstalk. Okay, So next is the copper media. Okay, so here are the different parts, different kinds of copper media. Okay, the unshielded twisted pair, the shielded twisted pair, and the co-washer cable. Okay, so first the unshielded twisted pair. Unshielded. Okay, so it is not shielded. Yeah. Then so first are the parts. Okay, so the outer jacket. Okay, or the synthetic rubber here that is protecting the wire itself. And then the next is the twisted pair. Okay. It protects the signal from interference. Okay, and also this twisted pair has a what is this? It has a purpose. Okay, that I will say later. Okay, this is the color-coded plastic insulation. Electricity isolates wires from each other and identifies each pair. Okay, so those are the colored. Okay, I didn't put the color here. So those are the color-coded plastic insulation. And this this UTP, or the unshielded twisted pair, is terminated by the RJ45. Okay, RJ45. Okay. So it is terminated, which means that for example, this is the UTP, or the unshielded twisted pair, and this is the end. Okay, the end of it is the where the termination begins. Okay, it is terminated with the RJ45. Okay, so this example. Next, the shielded twisted pair. So it is shielded. Okay, so the jacket, the synthetic rubber outside, the braided or foil sheet. Okay, so here with the crisscross pattern, it is a braided foil sheet. The foil shields. Okay, so here in the shielded twisted pair, there are so many layers. Okay, the twisted and all the twisted pair, the wires. Okay, so this is an expensive one, and it is difficult to install also. And this is also terminated by STP data connector. It is just like a RJ45, like, because I have researched it. It's like a RJ45, but with a metallic casing. Okay, that is what I have researched. The next is the co-washer cable. So parts of the outer jacket, braided copper shielding. Okay, just like this. And then the conductor, the plastic insulation covering the conductor, which is inside it, the inner core of the wire. Okay, so this braided copper shielding, okay, reduces the amount of electromagnetic fields, okay, such as EMI, okay, electromagnetic interference. Okay, it reduces its amount. Okay, so it is terminated by the BNC, N-type, and F-type. Okay, so next is the the copper media safety. Okay, so here's the separation of data and electrical power cabling must comply with safety codes. Okay, so we must separate the electrical cables, okay, or the electric lines or electrical power cables on our or from our data. Okay, our data cables, such as these cables. Okay, copper medias. Yes, the cable must be connected correctly. Okay, of course, you must connect it correctly, because it will not function very well if it is not, and the installation must be inspected for damage. Okay, so this is the okay, so next are the ways to limit the effect of crosstalk. Okay, so crosstalk, like I have said before, is a interference. Okay, so there are two ways on how to limit the effect of crosstalk, which is the cancellation. Okay, this is when two wires are placed together, their magnetic fields cancel each other out. So the reason why the it is twisted, okay, is because it will limit the crosstalk interference, okay, on your media. Okay, so because it will cancel their own magnetic fields, okay. So it will also cancel out any outside EMI or RFI signals. Then varying the number of twists for wire pair, this enhance the cancellation. Okay. So next is the categories of cable. Okay. This is the Cat3, the category 3 cable UTP. Okay, it is used for communication, most often used for phone lines. Okay, so next is category 5 and 5E cable, used for data transmission. Cat5 supports 100 MB per second and can support 1000 MB per second, but not recommended. Okay, Cat5E supports 1000 MB per second. So next is category 6 or Cat6 cable, used for data transmission and also separator transmission, and an added separator is between each pair of wires, allowing it to function at higher speeds. Okay, so this is it. Each of the twisted pair is separated, okay, for a higher speed functionality and or performance. So next is the UTP connectors. Okay, so they are two, okay, types of it. The male and female. Okay, so the male is the plug and female is the socket. Okay, the male is the one to be put in or to be inserted on the female socket. So RJ45 is used for a range of physical layer specs. Okay, so RJ45 UTP plugs, those are these three, and then the RJ45 UTP sockets is here. Next is the type of UTP cable. Okay, Ethernet straight through, most common type. Host to switch, okay, or switch to router. Okay. It is used to connect two devices. Okay. Next is the Ethernet crossover. This is the interconnect similar devices like router to router, switch to switch. Okay. Next is the rollover, or it's the proprietary cable. Okay. So next, there are two types of it, T568A and T568B. Okay, so I've already answered the activity like this on my video. Okay, on my activity video on the 3 and 4. Okay, so I will not tackle it because it will tell you the arrangement of colors, and also where will be the spiral where will be placed, okay, and its pattern. So next, the fiber optic cabling. Okay, so enterprise networks used for backbone cabling applications and interconnecting infrastructure devices. Okay, so it's said to be backbone because I have research, okay, on the backbone. It looks like a backbone literally because it connects all the LANs. So for example, in one building there are 3 rooms with different LAN, 3 rooms with different LAN, 3 rooms with different LAN. All of them is connected into one backbone. Okay, it is connecting them from each other. Next is the fiber to the home, or the FTTH, provide always on broadband. So next, the long haul networks used to connect countries and cities. Okay, so this is for wide range area. Next, the submarine cable networks provide reliable speed, high capacity solutions. So next, this is the fiber. Okay, so these are the parts. Fiber. This, the jacket. Okay, protection. The cable, this, the strengthening material, okay, surrounds the buffer, prevents stretching, okay, prevents the cable from stretching. And then the next layer is the buffer, shield the core. Okay, the core is this, and the core and cladding is made of glass. Okay, so cladding is this block, one. Before the core, okay, cladding made from chemicals reflects light. Okay. The core, light transmission element. Okay, so those two, the cladding core is made up of glass. Okay, so although the optical fiber is very thin and susceptible to sharp bends, the properties of the core and the cladding make it very strong. Okay, so fiber optic cable is a very strong cable. Okay, also it has a good function. Okay, faster connection when you're using it. Types of fiber media, light. Okay, light pulses representing the transmitted data as bits on the media are generated by either lasers or light emitting diodes or LEDs. So the electromagnetic semiconductor of photodiodes, are wrong. Light pulses is converted to photodiodes, which is electronic semiconductor, and then turns into voltage. Okay, and then that's it. It turns into voltage. So next is the SMF, or the single mode. Okay. So the specs of this is the small core, less dispersion, suited for long distance applications. Use lasers as the light source. Okay, so this is the one. It uses lasers. Commonly used with campus backbones for distances of several thousand meters. Also, the parts of this single mode is the glass core, which is 9 microns. I think microns is the unit of measure here. Glass cladding is 125 microns diameter. Polymer coating. Okay, so this is an expensive one. Okay, so next is the multi-mode, or the MMF. Okay, earlier it is the single mode, is the SMF, and this is the MMF. So it is glass core 50 over 2.5 microns, glass cladding 125 microns diameter, coating. Okay. So next is the fiber optic connectors. Okay, so first the SD connectors, or the straight tip connectors. So it locks securely with a twist on, twist off bayonet style like this. And the next is the SC connectors, or subscriber connector. Subscriber connectors push-pull mechanism used in the multi-mode and single mode fiber. Okay. Next is the lucent connector, simplex connectors. Okay, so LC connector for short. Similar version of the fiber optic SC connector, and also called detail or local connector. So lastly is the duplex multimode LC connectors, or similar to LC simplex connector, but using a duplex connector. Or as you can see, there are two connectors here, so it is duplex. Testing fiber cables. Okay, so these are the some errors, I think, on when you are testing a cable. Okay, the misalignment. Okay, first is misalignment. The fiber optic media are not precisely aligned to one another when joined. Okay, so it's literally misaligned. And this is the end gap. The media does not completely touch at the splice or connection. Lastly is the end finish. The media ends are not well polished, or dirt is present at the termination. Okay, so last is the properties of wireless media. Okay, so first, the coverage area works well in open environments. Construction materials used in buildings and structures will limit the effective coverage. Okay, so these are the threats. No, not threats, but some problems that you may encounter. Also, next, the interference, or susceptible to interference and can be disrupted by such common devices as household cordless phones. Next is the security. Wireless communication coverage requires no access to a physical strand of media. Lastly is the shared medium. VLAN operates in a half duplex, which means only one device can send or receive. So now we are using a Wi-Fi, or a wireless one, or a VLAN. Okay, so this medium is shared to all wireless users. Okay, so next here is the types of wireless media. Okay, the Wi-Fi IEEE 802.11 will use contention-based protocol known as Carrier Sense Multiple Access Collision Avoidance, or CSMA and C8. Next, the Bluetooth IEEE 802.15 Wireless Personal Area Network, or WPAN. Okay, WPAN. It's can reach 1 to 100 meters. Okay. Lastly is the WiMAX, okay, IEEE 802.16, known as Worldwide Interoperability for Microwave Access, or WiMAX. Uses a point-to multi-point topology to provide wireless broadband access. So next is the wireless LAN. Okay, so it is a common wireless data implementation is enabling devices to connect wirelessly via LAN. In general, a wireless LAN requires the following network devices. Okay, so first is the wireless access point, or AP, or WAP. Okay, for short, concentrates the wireless signal from users and connects to the existing copper-based network infrastructure such as Ethernet. Home and small businesses wireless routers integrate the functions of a router, switch, and access point into one device, as shown the figure here. Okay, so I am reading what I have here. So there's a photo of a modem, Wi-Fi modem. So next, the wireless NIC adapters provide wireless communication capability to each network host. Okay, so those are the two network devices that is required. So next, the are the data link layer. So as we have known, we have 7 different layers. First is the application, the presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and the physical layer. So data link is the one that prepares network data for the physical network. So it is responsible for allowing the upper layers to access the media, accepting layer 3 packets and packaging them into frames, preparing network data for the physical network, controlling how data is placed and received on the media, exchanging frames between nodes over physical network media such as the UTP or fiber optic, receiving and directing packets to an upper layer protocol, performing error detection. Next is the data link sublayer. So it is divided to 2 sublayers, which is the logical link control, or LLC, and media access control, or MAC. So this upper sublayer or the logical link control communicates with the network layer. Okay, so it places information in the frame that identifies which network layer protocol is being used for the frame. Also, next is the media access control. This lower sublayer defines the media access processes performed by the hardware. It provides data layer addressing and access to various network technologies. So next is we will be focusing on the media access control. Okay. So layer 2 protocol specifies the encapsulation of a packet into frames. Okay. So it is converted from packets into frames, and the techniques for getting the encapsulated packet on and off each medium. The technique used for getting the frame on and off the media is called media access control method, or the MAC method. So next is the transfer of frames. Okay, so from Ethernet connection to serial connection. Okay, data link layer is responsible for controlling the transfer of frames across the media or different medias. Okay, so at each hop along the path, a router accepts a frame from a medium, then encapsulates the frame. Okay, it encapsulates each frame and re-encapsulates the packet into new frames. Forwards the new frame appropriate to the medium of that segment of the physical network. Next, the data link standards. Okay, so engineering organization that define open standards and protocols that apply to the network access layers include the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or the IEEE, International Telecommunication Union, or ITU, International Organization for Standardization, or ISO, American National Standards Institute, or ANSI, or ANSI. That's the sharing of media. Okay, so regulating the placement of data frames on the media is controlled by the media access control sublayer. Okay, the media access control is the equivalent of traffic rules that regulate the entrance of motor vehicles of the roadway. The absence of any media access control would be equivalent of vehicles ignoring all other traffic and entering a road without regard to other vehicles. Okay, so media access control is important. Okay, because it is equivalent to the rules. Okay, if we are going to compare it on the traffic rule. So the actual media access control method used depends on its topology and media sharing. Okay, so the topology is what are the connection between the nodes appears to the data link layer, and media sharing, how the nodes share the media. The media sharing can be point-to-point, such as WAN connections, or shared, such as LAN networks. So we're now going to the types of topology. The physical and logical topology. The physical topology refers to the physical connections, and identifies how end devices and infrastructure devices, such as routers and switches and wireless access points, are interconnected. Physical topologies are usually point-to-point or star. So later we will discuss about those type of topologies. So the logical topology refers to the way a network transfers frames from one node to the next. This arrangement consists of virtual connections between the nodes of a network. These logical signal paths are defined in the data link layer. The logical topology of point-to-point links is relatively simple, while shared media offers different access control methods. So in physical topology, it shows how the devices are connected, and logical topology, or how those devices, how they communicate and share each other's information. So next is the common physical one topologies. Okay, so first is the point-to-point, or this is the simplest. It is the simplest topology that is consists of a permanent link between two endpoints. So for this reason, this is a very popular one topology. That's the hub and spoke. Okay, a one version of the star topology, in which a central site interconnects branch sites using a point-to-point link. So hub and spoke. Okay, it is like the wheel set of your bike. Okay, the hub is in the middle, and the spokes are the straight metal on the wheel set. Okay, so it is just like that. Next is the mesh. This topology provides high availability, but requires that every end system be interconnected to every other system. Therefore, the administrative and physical cost can be significant. Each link is generally point-to-point linked to the other node. Next is physical point-to-point topology. Okay. This is limited to only two nodes. Okay. For example, two routers. Okay. Router 1 and router 2. Physical point-to-point topology directly connect two nodes as shown. Okay. That's what I said. There are two. For example, there are two routers. Okay, that is connected. In this arrangement, two nodes do not have to share the media with other hosts. Additionally, a node does not have to make a determination about whether an incoming frame is destined for it or another node. That's the logical point-to-point topology. Okay. The media access method used by the data link protocol is determined by the logical point-to-point topology, not the physical topology. This means that the logical point-to-point connection between two nodes may not necessarily be between the two physical nodes at each end of the single physical link. So these are we are going to tackle about the different types of physical topologies: the star, extended star, the bus, and the ring. So the star, so n devices are interconnected in a central intermediate device. Early star topologies interconnected n devices using Ethernet hubs. However, star topologies now use Ethernet switches. Extended star, in an extended star topology, addition and Ethernet switches are interconnect other star topologies. An extended star is an example of a hybrid topology. Bus, all n systems are chained to each other and terminated in some form on each end. Infrastructure devices such as switches are not required to interconnect the end devices. Lastly is the ring. N systems are connected to their respective neighbor, forming a ring. Unlike the bus topology, the ring does not need to be terminated. Next, the half and full duplex. So half duplex communication, the both devices can transmit and receive any on the media but cannot do so simultaneously. And on the other hand, the full duplex communication, both devices can transmit and receive on the media at the same time. This is the media access control methods. So the contention-based access, all nodes operating in half duplex compete for the use of the medium, but only one device can send one at a time. Next, the controlled access, each node has its own time to use the medium. Next, the frame. The data link layer prepares a packet for transport across the local media by encapsulating it with a header and a trailer to create a frame. So this is the basic parts of our frame: the header, data, and the trailer. Frame fields. Frame start and stop indicator flags used to identify the beginning and the end limits of the frame. Addressing indicates the source and destination nodes of the media. Type identifies the data through protocol in the data field. Control identifies special flow control services such as the QoS. That's the data. Contains the frame payload. Error detection. These frame fields are used for error detection and are included for the data to form the trailer. So the LAN in one frame. So each protocol performs media access control for specified layer 2 logical topologies. This means that a number of different network devices can act as nodes to operate at the data link layer when implementing these protocols. So that's the end of our summary for our chapter 4. So I hope you guys learned something.